Hello everyone and welcome to the Plants But Better channel. My name is Adina and today we're answering some questions about Sansevierias and pups, their pups. I've seen a lot of people asking on the internet, when should I divide a pup, or what's the best method, or how can I do it? And today I'm going to show you everything there is to know. So for that, I'm going to borrow a plant from my studio, which is this one. This beautiful Sansevieria Masoniana or wellfin snake plant, and we are going to divide this little pup from the mother plant. Oh, and by the way, if you've never seen a pup from a Sansevieria Masoniana, this is going to be the new growth. They will not grow like this, like super wide leaves. They are propagated to look like this, but the new growth will look a bit wilder, let's say. We are going to safely divide this pup because if I'm going to answer the when question, it's best to separate your pup during growing season when you know the plant is active and can recover much faster, and also when you see the pup well established. If you see a tiny bit of growth, just let it be, don't bother it, don't mess with it because you could fuck it up. In this example, the pup is very much established. It can definitely be separated, and today we are going to do it. So for that, we will need a tray. I already have prepared in here a tray with some snake plant mix. I use for my plant a mix based on cacti soil, some perlite and some sand. Simple. And of course you'll need some pots, and for today's video I'm going to use terracotta pots. They are going to be reused. Actually, I washed them good before the video, and I advise you to do the same if you're going to reuse pots, because if let's say you had a plant dying in here, you might spread the bacteria from that dying plant to your healthy plant and you don't want to risk it. And let me show you much clearly how we are going to approach this separation. So as you can see, this is my plant and this is the pup, and we are going to gently remove it from the pot. Because I used the exact same mix from a long time ago, I'm going to remove the substrate, the old substrate in here in this tray. As you can see, I didn't water my plant. Actually, I would say this substrate is extremely dry, which is good for a snake plant. And let's analyze the roots. If we look a bit closer, we will see the rhizome of the pup growing right from the rhizome of the mother plant. What we are going to do is gently break the rhizome from the mother plant, and that's that. No need to complicate things. You can definitely use something sharper, let's say a scissors or a utility knife, but I'm just going to gently break it like this. As you can see, division acquired. Now I'm going to plant them separately, and if you look at the mother plant, you'll see this part right here on the base, which is a bit yellow. But this is not something to be concerned about because this is just lack of light, because this part right here was in the substrate. So this doesn't mean anything bad. It's not because it's rotting, it's not because, I don't know, something else, it's lacking nutrients or other stuff. It's just because this part of the leaf doesn't have light. This right here, the cut or the breakup, you can let it callus for a couple of hours, or you can plant it directly, because right now the temperatures are great, it's growing season, and I never had any problems with this type of separation. However, if you do this in winter, because sometimes your plants will not be dormant during winter, they will still grow, I would advise you to let it callus for at least a couple of hours until you do the repotting. Now what I'm going to do is test the waters and see if these pots are good enough for my snake plants, because you don't want them to be in too much soil because they will rot. Let's see if this one is good enough for the mother plant, and I would say this is looking fantastic. I love this combination of snake plants and terracotta. It brings me joy, and I think this is good enough for the pup. I'm just going to reuse some of the original substrate because that substrate is good enough. I don't have any rot in here, and we are going to plant this little baby into its new home. I forgot to take my gardening gloves. I always do. I usually do not do repotting with gardening gloves, but I should do it because I want to protect my hands long term, but I mostly forget. I don't know why. This is our new plant. I'm not going to put a lot of substrate in here. I'm just going to let it be like this. Now the second plant. Let's use the tools if we still have them. some substrate at the base. Ooh la la, so much dust. Let's just be more careful and continue our job. I think this is the best possible option I have for this plant. Terracotta pots rules. If you see your snake plant pop a little bit wobbly like this, it's totally fine. It means the substrate you use, it's really high quality for the plant, and it's also because the roots didn't establish in this pot, so until they grow there is nothing to worry about. And this is the mother plant. It looks quite good. We are going to water it and just let it be. I will take another clean tray and let's water our new plants. Now when you water your Sansevieria, it's best if you give it a good soak and not just a tiny bit on the top. Just water it, wait a bit, water again, wait a bit, give it a good soak. If you don't water your plants completely, some of the substrate will stay dry, and in that area the roots will suffer because the water won't reach the roots and they will dehydrate. If your roots dehydrate later, you could have some problems with root rot. This substrate is so lightweight that the water is pushing it at the surface. You can also try bottom watering with these plants. It's effective either way. And what I'm going to show you next is successful divisions of this plant. So I have with me another 2 pots. This one which is a bit more older and this one which is more recently. This is how your well-finned snake plant is going to grow in your home conditions. It will not grow like this. It's just a warning. It's still pretty, it's still very healthy, but it's not looking like this. If you want a similar growth, look for a more mature specimen. Sometimes you will see online specimens with multiple big leaves, so it's better to buy one that it already looks like this instead of somehow hoping that you will reach this type of leaf. It will not happen in a lot of home environments. This is just a disclaimer if you didn't know it already. So I hope I answered your questions. It's great to divide your pop when it's a bit more established. So when you do it like once a year and let the roots recover. They will grow a bit slower than other plants from other species, so I would advise you to do your division once a year, preferably during growing season. If you have additional questions about snake plants, please let me know in the comment and I'll answer each and every one of them. If you gain any value from this video, leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And until next time, don't forget to take care of yourself and your plants.